Hi, this is Brad with Copper Creek Cuts, a lawn care company in Northeast Florida. Since I received it in November of 2017, I have been using the Echo PAS 2620 to string trim, weed eat, hedge trim with mid-reach attachment, hedge trim with articulating attachment, pole saw with extension, hedge trim with extension, and even bed redefine all of my yards. That being said, now here in May 2020, which is getting on 3 years, I do have now an issue with the PAS 2620, and this is what's happening. As you can imagine, that drive shaft is supposed to stay inside the machine, not slide out. If you are having this issue, here are the 3 things you need to take a look at that could be the cause of the issue. Very briefly, it may be helpful to go over the tools that will be convenient for you to have handy for this project: a caliper for measuring, a power drill or screwdriver with a T27 Torx head bit, some grease, gloves, and paper towels, as this can get messy. I'll also mention that all part numbers will be displayed on the screen as well as typed in the description for easy copy and pasting. If it's already falling out, we might as well start with checking our drive shaft. Now what you're going to want to do is see the outer diameter of this flange right here. Now I'm going to go show you some close-up pictures. And at least when I measured both my new and my old drive shafts, they were both right around 1.8 centimeters. So that isn't the issue for me. But if yours measures less than that, this flange could have worn off enough that it's allowing the entire drive shaft to fall through, because this is part of what holds it in, this flange. That's the first thing you'll check. If it checks out at 1.8 centimeters, just like both of mine did, then we need to take a look at the next issue. This is the coupler that mates onto the PAS 2620 power base and allows you to attach attachments, allow myself to introduce myself, into the PAS 2620. This housing could also be the issue, as again, there's going to be several ridges in here that help keep things from moving around. The downside of this is I don't have an easy way to measure the inner diameter of any of these. My caliper can't, I can't get in there to measure the pieces I need. So this one, as well as being the most expensive part to replace, should probably be your final solution if nothing else works, which we're going to look at one more thing, which I'm hoping is going to be the most common cause of failure for letting these drive shafts slip through. And that is this little guy right here. As with so many things in life, sometimes the smallest, most inconspicuous piece can be the most important when it breaks. And that's what happened in my case. This is a washer that sits in this coupler, and it rides against this flange and keeps it from coming out. I don't know what happened to mine, if it just shattered and disintegrated. I do not see a washer when I've taken apart my coupler. I do not see a washer in there. I don't know how it ever would have worked if it didn't have it in there. So that's why I say I think mine failed. You can simply order this washer and go ahead and put it back in your coupler and see if that fixes it. Now I want to point out that the steps that we're about to take here are all going to be the same if your drive shaft failed and you need to install a new one, if your washer failed and you need to install a new one, or your coupler failed and you need to install a new one. The following steps are exactly the same, and I'll explain when they branch off. The first thing we're going to do is take our T27 star bit and we're going to remove this screw here, which actually drives into a hole in this tube, and this one here that actually clamps the PAS coupler onto this tubing. Then the coupler should slide off, and here you have access to the old drive shaft. Now you can just go ahead and pull it out. You would slide the new one in if this was your problem, and then you would just replace the old coupler tighten everything back up, and you'd be good to go. But again, that is not my issue. Now, it's always a good idea to grease as much of this as possible, so we're going to head and glove up and hope that the camera angle is perfect, because I'm not going to be able to touch it after that. I just have some steel grease here. I believe it's some type of black lithium base. I'm especially trying to get as much grease as I can on those ridges that we talked about on the inside, since that's where most of the friction, I'm assuming, is going to be happening. Now we're going to, again, on this back end, take our washer and drop it in. We're going to use a carpenter pencil, and I don't think you'll be able to see it, but we're just going to use that to kind of line up where that thing needs to go. That new washer should prevent this drive shaft from slipping out. I did have to hold it upright and then slide the coupler on. Doing it at an angle, the drive shaft wasn't fitting right. And now the moment of truth. Ta-da! Our drive shaft is staying put. So, there you go. If that solved your issue, please let me know in the comments. It strokes my ego to know that I helped somebody out there and keeps me encouraged to do these videos in the future. If it didn't solve your problem, please leave a comment as well, and I'll try to help you out in any way I can. If you have any other questions about the PAS 2620 system, please feel free to leave those in the comments, and I'll reply no matter how old a video gets. I reply to comments almost every single day. Here's a few more videos that YouTube thinks you might like. Please consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it.